is up, people? My name is Stahv. You're in my living room. Today, I have a guest who's coming off some pretty amazing shows in Green Bay, Wisconsin here. He just DJ'd for Tee Grizzley and Tai Verdes before that in the same night. Introduce yourself, man.
What's good, y'all? I'm DJay Mando. And yeah, Green Bay is a vibe, man. Y'all are cool out here for sure.
It's definitely turning into something because I mean you've been here a number of times and you've seen how we started and the direction we're going. It's definitely trending in the right direction.
100%. And I feel like the Epic Event Center is a huge part of that. Like that's a nice concert venue. That's a really nice concert venue.
It absolutely is.
And it holds a lot of people too. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Apart from the Epic Event Center, whenever anybody in Green Bay wanted to go out and experience concerts in a similar fashion, you had to go down to the rave.
Yep.
I mean, there's no other option. So to have
saying.
something local here is a huge deal.
Absolutely. And people should be taking advantage of that because if they don't, then I will.
But you have an incredible resume. I mean, you have done shows with 21 Savage, Lil Uzi Vert, Playboi Carti. I mean, the list goes on. Can you give us a little background and history there?
Yeah, I mean, the first big show that I DJ'd was Lil Uzi, and that was 2016. And then 2017 followed that up with 21 Savage. And then 2018, we did Playboi Carti and Bad Bunny. And then 2019 was A Boogie at Summerfest. And it just kept on going from there. Like there's so many other shows in between that, but those were some of the biggest and most fun, most memorable, you know.
And you also do work with the Bucks.
Yep, Bucks and the Badgers.
The Badgers.
And the Packers.
And the Packers, really? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Wow, I mean, it's obviously a grind to get where you are, but to see success come so easily after those first few shows, I mean, you have really set yourself up for success in all the right places.
That's the goal for sure. You know, like I try and keep it so that my year is busy all the time.
Start to back, never a dull moment. I mean, yesterday was a prime example of that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, you had not one, but two really big shows for Green Bay. I mean, that does not happen often here.
Yeah, it lined up perfectly. And yeah, we're exhausted. I literally woke up like 15 minutes ago to
we are the morning after. So
yeah, that's awesome.
There's no way he's not exhausted because you are an entertainer, man. I've seen a couple of your shows, and you're much more than just a DJ, right?
I appreciate that.
You're an entertainer at your core. You're always getting the crowd amped up and energetic in ways that a lot of even artists can't figure out how to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been the goal. The goal is to make it an experience because it's a concert. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't just be playing music like you're on a bike ride or sitting at home in your living room. It should be a moment. It should be an experience, something that you don't forget so that the next time you hear that song, you think of that moment. That's what we try and do every time we approach a show.
And, you know, creating memorable experiences.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, like we're trying to give people our interpretation of the music that we're listening to, that everybody's listening to. And sometimes it'll be playing a song that everybody doesn't know, and we just have fun with it because we just like that song, you know? And then other times it's changing a song that's familiar, making it slightly different and more of a live show experience. So yeah, you know, like that's always been the goal, is to be more than a DJ, be an entertainer, be something that people gravitate towards when it comes to music. And part of that is my dance team, like Dose, Chris G, Dels, all the people that are part of my whole team. They help me bring that experience to life and bring that vision to the forefront.
I mean, you roll around with a pretty big crew, and I think that makes you, I mean, not only are you DJing, you have the performance on top of it, and it makes you incredibly unique. You know, not many DJs roll around with a crew that can do what your crew does. I mean,
and everybody's necessary.
Right. How many people do you run with typically?
It's probably between 10 and 15.
10, 15. Wow.
Yeah, and we try and make it as convenient as possible for venues and promoters to accommodate. But, you know, everybody's necessary. Like, we have 2 or 3 dancers on any given night. We have photographer, videographer, lighting tech, stage management. We have artists that can rap and make music if we have room for that or need that, you know, like. And then I have 2 other support DJs that either can open for me or help me set up all the stuff that I need to set up. And we got security, we got a chef, like we got everything, you know?
I mean, it's incredible to have those people at a moment's notice. I mean, like you said, they're, I'm sure, an important part to making your show what it is.
Absolutely.
So you come from, or you're based out of Milwaukee, correct?
Correct.
Have you grown up there? What's your background?
I grew up in Milwaukee, and I was there until I was 18, and then I went to the University of Wisconsin, and went to the university there, and got my marketing degree.
Really, marketing?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't really use it though.
I'm sure in that mindset,
you would think, but no.
Really.
I could be doing exactly what I'm doing right now
without
if I didn't get that degree.
Interesting.
Because corporate marketing is way different than music marketing. TikTok didn't exist when I was in college. You know what I mean? Like,
there's new stuff popping up every day.
The music industry is moving forward constantly, and so, you know, corporate marketing just can't keep up. You can't be I mean, you could be a successful musician, but nothing that they're going to teach you in class is going to prepare you for what you need to be doing in the music industry. So
fair. When did DJing really come into your life? Was it something from a young age you were always interested in doing, or was it later in life that you kind of discovered it?
I mean, it was always a hobby of mine, but once I was in college and DJing like college house parties, that's when it started picking up, and I DJed on the college radio station, and, you know, it was always just a hobby of mine. But once I graduated, I decided to do it full time and just see what I could do with it.
I mean, there's obviously a ton of skill involved, and it's something that you have to put in, I'm sure, hours of work just to be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Yeah. Like, what's the process there? Did you pick up a board and just start playing around in your living room, or? I
was one of the DJs that all I had was a laptop, because I was too broke to go buy equipment. So I literally would just plug in the aux cord and just DJ off my laptop. But I practiced so much off of my laptop, like I knew all the hotkeys. Like, the keyboard will end up being your controller. Like, it can do everything that the controller does. You just have to know the hotkeys for it. So I could make a clean mix just off of my laptop and keyboard and the aux cord. So, you know, I was no equipment for a long time, probably till like 2 or 3 years into what I was doing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty unique. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people getting into this space, I mean, you always think about starting out something new, and you always want the best and greatest equipment to try to get you far, but starting out with nothing, and
part of it was stubbornness. Like, I knew how to use my DJ program with my laptop, and I didn't know how to use a controller. Nobody ever taught me how to use it because I never had one, never had access to one.
Sure.
So people were like, you should get like a DJ board. I was like, for what? Like, I don't
can do everything you can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can make a cleaner mix than people with like the most expensive equipment. So part of it was stubbornness, but then eventually I got my first residency, and they had CDJs for me to use, so I would just practice on that. Then after that, I was good.
Is it like a daily practice that you go through to keep up, or is it more of once you got down, it's basically muscle memory?
Yeah, it's definitely muscle memory now at this point. But when I was first starting, what I would do is like I said, I was on the student radio station and they had recording studios there. They were all soundproofed. So anytime I was bored and it was open 24/7.
Oh,
so
sweet.
anytime I was bored, anytime I couldn't sleep, anytime I wanted to listen to new music that just dropped, I would go to the studio, plug in, and then just put it on my DJ program and just listen, practice, play with effects, play with transitions, and I would just do it just for fun. You know what I'm saying? Because I had nothing else to do. And I did that so much. And they had like microphone setups and everything. So like you could practice the purpose of it was to be able to pre-record your radio show in case you couldn't make your actual radio show, so that you could just put it in their system and then they can play it.
Got it.
But I just used it for practice. Like I wanted to see how I sounded on the microphone, what I would say if I wasn't playing music, like radio transitions and that type of stuff. And man, it was just so much fun. Like I would just do it just to mess around. And I did it so much till by the time I had like an actual real show, I was ready.
Well, I'm sure it builds up your confidence.
Absolutely.
I mean, going into as large of shows as you do you ever get like nervous?
Nah, there's no nerves ever.
Really? So you're fully calculated and confident in everything you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, like if you go to a concert, whoever's on stage, you automatically assume that they're supposed to be there. You don't ever go to a concert like, oh, that person isn't supposed to be there. Like,
right.
Because and you don't feel that way. That's your first impression off the top, off the rip. You're assuming whoever's on stage is supposed to be there
and knows what they're doing.
And the only way they show you that you're wrong is when they start stumbling over their words on the mic, messing up their transitions, playing the wrong notes on the keyboard and their guitar, or missing beats on the drums. Like when their art isn't hitting the way it's supposed to, it's like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to be there. So everybody's already given you the benefit of the doubt. So there's no point in being nervous because, there's no time to be nervous. You're just there to do what you do. And if you're nervous, then you're going to mess up. And if you're not nervous, then you won't mess up. And if you do mess up, you don't care because you're supposed to be there.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I think you're so successful is that attitude alone. I mean, that takes a lot of mental training and confidence to get into a position like that. So it obviously works.
That and just preparation and practice. Like if you've done it 1,000 times, 100,000 times, 1,000,000 times, to where like you're almost bored of playing it back and practicing it, then it's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing and I know I'm not going to mess up. I know it's not even like I'm not going to mess up. It's I know I'm going to do well. You know what I mean? Like getting nervous is just negative versus like, let's just have fun. And this is my job. This is what I do. Like this is all I've ever wanted to do. And we're doing it. So can't help but just enjoy it, especially after like the pandemic and not being able to do it.
What was that experience like for you?
Sucked. We didn't do a show for probably like a full calendar year.
Really?
Yeah.
And that affects pretty much every aspect of your life. I mean, you're stuck at home probably just hating life because
we was in the crib.
Nothing going on. During that time, were there ways that you were trying to, stay positive? Like, were you practicing? Were you working on something? Was there anything going on during that period that kind of made you sane?
Yeah, I mean, I was just having fun on social media, really. That was my biggest thing, like whether it was with music or just going on Instagram Live. And we did like a game show that we did on Instagram. Whole bunch of like every Sunday I would play mixes. So yeah, I mean we just did stuff to pass the time. Nothing crazy, but
well, it's a great place to put your energy when you're trapped at home, you know?
Yeah.
You can grow your following so that, you know, once it's over, there's a better spot at the end of the day.
Yep. And so, yeah, we just passed the time, traveled a little bit. We went to Arizona for like a month just to
get out.
Just to go somewhere that was like people could do things.
Right.
But yeah, you know, we just let it pass. We knew it would pass. It was just a unique situation in that no matter where you go globally, you can't really do live shows.
Right. Did you find that once it did pass, the shows, once they started picking back up, were they different in any way? Like, were more people out, or was it kind of the same as before?
It kind of depended. You know, like there's some shows that we've done where it was like high school homecomings where they needed it to be socially distanced and things like that.
Got it.
And it was, I mean, it's just tough because like the music I play gets people excited and everybody wants to jump around and mosh pit and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, you're bringing people together.
Yeah, I mean, and then like we would have to cut the music or stop the music so that everybody could spread back out and things like that. And so yeah, it was things like that was tough. But for the most part, you know, when things came back, they came rushing back. You know, like all types of bookings in all types of places. And yeah, we're good now.
Great place to be.
Absolutely.
When you're performing in front of a large crowd, you probably have to feed off of their energy. And in situations, I've seen, you know, shows go completely south where, you know, you always see at Coachella when somebody hops on stage and the crowd is just absolutely dead. Have you ever been in a situation like that?
Absolutely dead.
He's having to think real hard, so that's a good sign right there.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, in the opposite effect, like what's like the wildest crowd you've ever dealt with, and what was that experience like?
So we would do shows every Thursday at the Miramar Theater in Milwaukee, and those shows were insane.
Hell yeah.
Sold out every time, 400 or 500 deep. And
damn, how much can that theater hold?
Yeah, it fits like 400 or 500 people.
Damn, yeah, so packed.
So every week, every Thursday, it was that many people sold out every week for a full year.
Thursday nights too.
Yep.
Wow.
And I'm talking about those kids are crazy. They're crazy.
Hell
insane.
Yeah.
They're so lit. But then you got concerts like 21 Savage. 21 Savage is probably one of the first shows where I'm like, yeah, I'm that guy for real. Because we were getting better reactions than everybody that touched that stage, and we were the first ones to go out. So
yeah, in a concert of that caliber, like, I mean, there are tons of artists that hit the stage before the opening act even comes out, so you can probably get a pretty good judge of a crowd and how you're performing on top of that, just based on how they react.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of times where we go to, like, maybe we're the last ones to go, like right before the headliner, and you'll be watching the crowd, and the crowd is just like, you can tell we're gonna have to win them over because they've been waiting so long for the headliner to come out and watching so many people perform that they didn't know, till their energy is shot, and if they see one more person come out, they'll be like, "Oh my god!"
Just bring
the
main act out.
And so like we'll have moments where we know people are tired of seeing openers, but we also know that we're different. We're not like any typical opener, and so you can see the crowd come to life when they see what we do and how we do it. They're like, "Oh,
he's legit."
Like, it's showtime, you know what I mean? So,
well, in a lot of ways, that's your job too. You know, you're meant to kind of get that crowd prepared
100%
for the artist to come out. So in that way too, if you're doing a good job of that, I'm sure you get recognition from the artist too.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, like a lot of times it depends on the artist and the venue. Some artists don't want to be bothered, don't want to see anybody, don't want to talk to anybody. Other venues, like the security, just can't let you past a certain checkpoint or clearance. But other times, everybody's all in one place, or the artist is just cool and they'll just be like, yo, what's up, what's up? Like Tee Grizzley, last night he was super cool. He watched my set and he was like, yo, like, you're tough, you killed that. And, you know, I was there for him, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody else was there for him. So for the guy that everybody's there for to tell me that and tell us that we did our job and did it well and at a high level,
huge.
That's fire.
It's huge to meet an artist like that, and then it's a connection in the same network. I mean, he might hit you up for shows in the future. I mean, hopefully. It's all a huge spider web.
Yeah.
Out of all the artists that you've been able to meet in that way, like, who's the coolest?
T-Pain.
T-Pain,
sure.
Hell yeah.
T-Pain was so cool, man. Like, so down to earth, easy to talk to, willing to talk to people. He watched everybody's set. We just performed with him at Wisconsin Fest at the Rave, and that was the first ever Wisconsin Fest. He's going to do it every year, and we were the only local talent on the bill.
Really?
So we were the sole representation of Milwaukee.
Damn.
And, you know, even before he saw me perform, he was like, yo, like, we're just chopping it up. He was there with everybody and where everybody was at. So we were able to talk to him, you know, chop it up with him. And then we did our set. He watched it. He was like, yo, you guys are tough, man. I'm going to need you guys back here every year. And we're like, say less, just let us know.
Yeah.
And then he gave all of the artists a custom Wisconsin Fest Letterman jacket, and he gave me one. Damn. Spelled my name right and everything. Like he's just a cool guy. He was super cool. I didn't expect that at all. So,
yeah, no, that's interesting. I'm sure you can tell in the moment, like, who those people are, and those are the ones that really leave an impact with you, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know, because it's like I've experienced it so much till I don't expect to either see or interact with the artist ever. Like, anytime we have a show with a big headliner, we don't ever really expect to see or talk to them because that's usually how it goes. So when you get to interact with artists or get to shake hands, talk to them, take pictures or whatever the case may be, it's rare. It doesn't happen. So yeah, it definitely leaves a mark because it's usually good interactions.
Oh yeah, all positive interactions. I mean, your goal is growth and to be recognized on a larger and larger level.
Yeah,
and that's the way to do it. As far as a end goal for you, do you have a place in life you want to reach or get to, or are you like, I'm already there, man?
Yeah, I mean, I get to do what I want when I want with people that I love, making money, you know, so that part's cool. But we always look to expand and push forward because we can't just do the same thing forever. We always have to elevate, get better, make the art better, make the show better. There's a lot of things that we can always improve on, add, and change. So my next goal is, for me, like, I feel like I've always had to wait to get booked, right? A lot of people, a lot of DJs, a lot of artists, a lot of creatives, they wait to get booked rather than creating their own outlet.
Sure.
So, you know, for example, the way I started the Miramar Theater and those Thursdays every week was because we came to Milwaukee. Well, I came to Milwaukee, and none of the clubs, DJs, venue owners, nobody knew who I was. And so we were trying to get into the Milwaukee clubs, but nobody would get us in because promoters couldn't really promote us. They didn't know who we were. DJs, they saw us as a threat. We were going to take their spot. And venue owners, they know their DJs. They know how much they have to pay them, and they know that they can bring people through. So there's no point in getting some new guy to do it who's more expensive than all of them already, and you don't even know what he does.
Oh yeah. I'm sure to some level you have to have a resume and
right,
getting
yeah,
yourself
exactly.
out there.
I mean, like, I started in the clubs, and you know, that's how I started. So when I went to Milwaukee, I was like, well, this club is smaller than the club that I would rock. So, you know, I mean, this is what I would charge. And that was like more than all the other DJs in the city would charge. So, you know, the clubs wouldn't let us DJ. So I was like, all right, well, let's just rent out our own spot and just do our own shows. And that's what we did. That's how the Miramar came about. And so we took that and just ran with it. We created our own outlet where, you know, nobody books us. We just book it ourselves and bring people through. And now we're trying to do that on a higher scale. So rather than waiting for big headliners to come through and then hoping that we get booked or somebody reaches out to us for that, we're trying to bring the headliners ourselves.
Interesting.
So that way nobody can say no. You know, like we're in charge of it from top to bottom because we have somebody who can run lights. We have people that can take photos and videos. We have people that can open the show and either provide a DJ set or a vocal set or a rap set. We have everything that we need. All we need is just the headliner that can bring people there.
Well, and if you're already bringing a crowd, that's all
right.
the
Yeah,
more
exactly.
enticing.
Like, you know, we're already doing our own thing and like bringing people on our own just because we chose to do it that way. So
it sounds very similar to, I'm sure you're familiar with Cole Bennett and Lyrical Lemonade
100%.
and his whole upcoming and getting that festival, which is a completely insane festival now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're trying to do. Like we're not trying to wait on anybody else. We don't want to wait to get booked. We'd rather just book it ourselves and then we book ourselves. Yeah. So that way nobody can tell us no. And then we'll go to the clubs and be like, look, we're bringing this person in town. Let's have the after party at your spot. And then we book the clubs now instead of them booking us. That's, you know, we just skip. If you're not going to help us, then we're just going to skip you altogether until you're forced to work with us. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah. Do you think Milwaukee is ready for something like that?
For sure.
For sure.
I mean, it's missing. It's been missing for the longest time. Like, there's such a void when it comes to hip hop in that city till they're ready.
You think about Milwaukee compared to Green Bay. I mean, you guys are light years ahead of us, and to have something like that, even a little closer than, you know, like Chicago is probably the closest place, or the Twin Cities maybe, but to have something get closer and closer to making that happen, that's a huge deal for Wisconsin in general.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we're trying to set it up, man. We're trying to be statewide, region-wide, nationwide. You know, like that's how we're trying to end up international. All that.
You got to come out to Green Bay at some point, and do some shows out here because we need it just as much.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely get something cracking at the event center.
I have no doubts. Was the crowds last night were good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Green Bay is ready. Maybe not as ready as what Milwaukee would be. Just because our population is a little smaller, but
but y'all make it happen though. Everybody shows up because there's nothing to do out here. So
yeah, that's true.
Everybody shows up.
There's a ton of potential here, though. I mean, you've met some of the local artists like Charlie, YD, the Wisco Kids.
Yeah, shouts out the Wisco Kids. They're tight.
They're so cool, and to grow that is obviously the goal. So anytime you can, I mean, you're a huge deal coming to Green Bay. I mean,
absolutely, I appreciate it.
It brings a whole new aspect to what it is Green Bay can put on, because you start getting bigger and bigger names out here. I mean, it can only go up from that point.
I agree.
So when you're not DJing and you're not playing shows and you're not practicing, what do you do in your free time?
Well, I listen to a lot of music. Music is pretty much always playing when I'm around. Video games.
Hell yeah.
Love Xbox. And just whether it's playing competitive games or just like taking a story in. Basketball. That's the way I stay in shape. I love basketball. I'm a shooter. I like shooting. It's fun. And then,
I mean, I'm sure DJing keeps you in shape too. I mean, you're hopping on.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say performance keeps you in shape. DJing doesn't keep you in shape.
Sure.
Because I mean, we be jumping around, dancing, all type of stuff, you know. But if you just stick behind the boards and just DJ, Nah, it's not too tough of a workout.
I suppose.
once you start doing all the dance moves, you got to keep up with dose. Yeah, that's a workout for sure.
So music, I'm sure you've listened to Drake's new album.
Yes.
Look, give us the scoop. What do you think?
Everybody else is an idiot.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, bro. Man.
People are idiots. Like, so many people, the first thing they said is, "Oh, this album's trash. Oh, this and that, blah 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 blah." But you guys just crabs in a bucket. The world is bigger than just the U.S. There's more music than just trap music that goes hard. You know, music is music. You can't. Drake is a global artist. He doesn't always care only about the U.S. Like, this album is going to be slapping through Europe, through Asia, through South America, and through Africa. You know what I mean? Like, any if you go to Cape Town and go to a club in Cape Town, they're going to be playing Drake's music and that whole vibe. You go to Europe or you go to Ibiza or UK or just like a random club in like Dublin or something like that, they're going to be slapping that house music and they're going to be slapping that Drake album, and it's going to be fire. You know, you got to listen to that album on a boat at the beach in the club with like a fine ass woman in front of you dancing. You can't listen to that album, you know, if you're eating microwave dinners in your living room. It's not gonna hit the same. You gotta,
Definitely not.
You gotta put yourself in that right mindset to listen to it.
Yeah.
And
I think everybody expects like some super hype next level, like,
right. You know, I mean, like when we first cut the album on, I was like, nah, it's gonna be like God's Plan, no nonstop, sicko mode, like club bangers for the summertime to set the clubs on fire. And my friends were like, nah, it's gonna be R&B Drake, like some smooth, you know, smooth suave type Drake. And then we cut the album on, everybody was wrong, and we hear like house music and dance. We're like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is fire.
It really is.
He just hit everybody off in the left field. And I think that's part of the problem, was that everybody had their expectations and got excited about it, rather than, like, you can have expectations, but when those expectations aren't, I wouldn't say not met, but like when he does something that you don't expect, it doesn't mean that it's garbage. Just listen to it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It takes a few listens to really be able to understand an album like that too. Because, I mean, you think of some of my favorite albums, I think I had to listen to probably like 3 or 4 times before I'm like, this is on repeat every day, you know?
Man, the moment we cut that album on, we were like, oh yeah, we know for a fact this album is going to be a smash. Because we were just catching the vibes. Like, when we first listened, I had my DJ speakers, so we had the music loud as hell. It was midnight, you know, dimmed all the lights in the crib.
Right atmosphere.
Everybody just ate, like we all just cooked out, watched the game, and you know, we put ourselves in like vibe mode, played it, and it fit the vibe perfectly. And we were just like, oh my God, this album slaps. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a fun summer. I'm super excited for Drake. I'm super excited to play the music as a DJ. It's just gonna be so much fun. And
well, I'm sure every time a new album comes out, it's like a new.
Yeah, it's like Christmas, man.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh,
opening a present. You like have all these new tracks to play with.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And it was just crazy, because it's like, how are you guys mad at new Drake music right now? Like, and
right, he could be doing nothing. He could put out a single track.
I'll take Drake music over no Drake music.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's just, people just have this crab in a bucket mentality. Like, again, Drake is making global music. He's a global superstar. He's not going to make hip hop music every time. He's not going to make R&B music every time. He can do whatever he wants. He's just having fun. He's just making music to vacation to. He's probably on a boat right now, just vibing overseas, playing that music with like 23 girls on his yacht.
Probably.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And in that situation, you can't not like that music. You
right.
feel me?
Right. You're just hating.
People did the same. Yeah, exactly, man. Like, it's a trend to hate. It's cool to hate. It's cool to crack jokes and go viral on Twitter. People did the exact same thing to Playboi Carti. When a Whole Lotta Red dropped, everybody was talking about, oh, this album sucks. I can't believe we waited so long for this, and blah, blah, blah. Everybody hated that album. And when I listen to it, I'm like, yo, this is fire. This is going to be crazy. When he takes this album on tour and he performs this live, this is going to be insane.
Well, that's a whole nother thing, to have an artist that can actually perform their music.
Right.
Like,
and that's what I'm saying. Like that was instinctually, like, that's what I thought. I hear Rockstar Made, I'm like, oh my God, live, the mosh pit is going to be absolutely insane. And then I go online and everybody's like, oh my God, this album sucks. This album, like, horrible, all the negativity, all the critiques. I'm like, man, you guys are idiots. And then sure enough, a year later, it starts charting again because he takes the album on tour. People go to the show and they're like, oh, I get it now. This is amazing. This is classics. This is Whole Lotta Red. This is Cardi's a genius. Cardi's ahead of his time.
Yeah, why does it take so long and so much time to pass?
Cardi isn't ahead of his time. You guys are just dumb.
Yeah, you're behind.
You listen to it for 2 seconds, don't really take it in and think about what the music is, think about what's happening, and you guys just instantly hate it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just listen to the music, have fun with it. Think about how the artist intended for the music to be interpreted, take it in, how it was meant to be listened to, and let it happen. You know what I mean?
Well, the same thing with the Kendrick album that just came out. I know so many of my friends that are like, oh, this album sucks because it's not like,
it's
it's
music
not
for the radio, not music like it. No, it's.
But you listen to that album front to back, man. It's like a storybook.
Exactly. I was just gonna say it's like a poetic audiobook. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
it's so good.
Yeah, and I make fun of Kendrick Lamar all the time just because I know so many people love him, and it's just funny to me to like hate on Kendrick Lamar. But when you take all the jokes aside, like, come on, man. Kendrick spits. Kendrick performs. Kendrick is just such a great lyricist, a great hip hop artist through and through. So, you know, I can crack jokes online too. You know, we're not like always gonna be negative Nancy's. We know how to joke and have fun.
Yeah.
But
do you ever worry about some of those jokes like coming back like later down the line? Like you get a gig with Kendrick and he sees a video pop up.
if I end up performing with Kendrick, then I'll tell him to his face. I'll be like, hey man, I joke a lot on Twitter about you, but you're cool.
You're cool.
But you know, it's just, again, like, you can crack jokes, but then you say, all right, all jokes aside, this shit is crazy, or this album is crazy. You know what I mean? So
lightheartedness.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't go wrong.
It's all fun and games. Everybody gonna joke at you at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if you're a big artist and somebody cracks a joke and you talk to them and be like, yo, like, what's your deal? Or, hey, do you want free tickets to one of my shows? 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think you were going to see this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People just talk on the internet because they have the privilege of being unseen. So,
talking about like worldwide appeal and even like nationwide appeal, have you ever gotten out of the country with DJing and performed, you know, in other countries?
Yep. We went on tour with my guy Lucian Parker in Europe, which is fire.
Hell yeah. Where in Europe?
We went to London, Manchester, Amsterdam, Berlin, and Finland.
Hell yeah. So I always love to dive into experiences like that because they can be so different than what we experience here.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, once I went overseas, I was like, oh, like there's people that are famous in the UK where if they walk down the street, people are phones out trying to record and take pictures with them. I have no clue who they are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's people that are famous, like famous rock stars, crazy musicians in the UK and in Europe and in Africa that if they came to the US, nobody would know who they were. You know what I mean? Like, the US is its own little bubble. And then you have worldwide music. And people that are popping in Europe, they're popping in every other country. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
all the different continents of the world, they all just like,
they're connected.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They feel like a unit. You know what I mean? So if something's slapping in Africa, it's making it overseas to the UK and to Germany and France. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What do you think the disconnect is there?
I mean, we're just the U.S. We're stubborn. The whole world uses the metric system and we don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're just on our own little island. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know, but that's when I realized that music, worldwide music, like there's so much music. Like when I heard gigs for the first time, if I would have heard gigs and UK drill in the US, I don't care. But you go to, I think the first time I heard gigs was in Amsterdam in like a basement club, and the club probably fit 150 people, had a small stage, and the DJ played Whippin' Excursion by Giggs. And when he played that song, everybody was like, oh my God, instantly opened up the mosh pit. And I get pushed in the back. I'm like, yo, what is going on? I see a big old mosh pit open up. I'm like,
oh shit.
I'm listening to the build of the song. I'm hearing the DJ get on the microphone. He's like, are y'all ready? Like it was some British dude. And
that was a pretty good accent.
Something slight. You feel me? Come on, bro. But yeah, I hear the song drop, and everybody starts mosh pitting, and the beat is going crazy, and then everybody's screaming the lyrics. I'm like, oh my God! I grabbed that dude like that was on stage. I grabbed him by his foot. I'm like, bro, what song is this? What song is this? And he tells me, "Whippin' Excursion by Giggs, bro." And I'm like, oh my God! Like I took that, went back to the U.S. and at Freak Fest in Madison, we performed with, I think it was either Lil Yachty or it was Drum. But I played that song and I was like, look, I just got back from tour in Europe. And this is what they were playing and I need to play it for y'all. And got everybody lit to it. You feel me? So it's like.
I was going to ask if you take influences from those travels and keep them in your back pocket.
Dude, like that put me on to so many artists. And so many different, like, man, Giggs and Skepta and just so many artists, man. There's so many other people. WizKid, Burna Boy, Thames. Like, there's so many people. You could go on for days. But there's people that aren't getting rotation here in the U.S. that are getting rotation overseas that are absolutely killing it. And the music is absolutely fire. And that's why I feel like I could listen to Drake's new album and be like, oh my God, dude, could you imagine being
because you have that different insight.
Could you imagine being overseas when this album came out
100%.
In the UK in like a basement club and people are just playing the new Drake, bro, insane, right? And I feel like the US was the only country in the world where the initial reception is trash. I feel like everybody else in the world, I don't know this for a fact, but everybody else in the world is probably like, oh my God, this is wavy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
New Drake, he's putting on house music, like cool. Well, and it's just it's so many people in the US that haven't gone anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Part of that is it's way harder to travel to different parts of the world in the US because you can be in France and go to Spain for like $50.
Right.
Maybe not right now, but flights are insane right now, but it's just so much easier to travel to different countries and different continents when you're outside of the US.
Yeah, it's expensive too. I mean, not everybody can afford to get those experiences, but they're so important.
Exactly.
Like if you don't have that context and that the wherewithal and the knowledge from those places, like to a certain extent, you can probably understand the reason why the Americans are saying like, oh, this is trash, because they just don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. You just straight up don't get it. You haven't been anywhere else.
Yeah.
So if all you listen to is hip hop music and trap music and pop or R&B, and you don't really listen to house music, or you've never been to a place where they're slapping only house music and it's a vibe and everybody's enjoying it, and you can understand, then you're not gonna like the album. Of course not. But
and like you said, hating has kind of been a trend as of late. I think with any new album that comes out.
My goal is to kind of give people the perspective. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to take that album and be like, all right, I know a lot of people don't like this music, but just listen to it like this, and then maybe they'll enjoy it.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming out. We're getting close to the end. We're at 45 minutes here, but I wanted to talk about a little bit of what you got going on in the future. Like, what's next? What can people expect coming down the pipeline here?
Yeah, so we have Summerfest. We're going to be at Summerfest July 2nd and July 8th. July 2nd is going to be kind of like a headline show. We close out the night. And then July 8th, we're performing with Corday at the Miller Light Stage.
So cool.
Yeah, so that's going to be fire. And then after that, I like to keep summertime open just to be able to travel so that, you can experience things in the world. And, it's a lot of travel, a lot of chilling, just hanging out with the guys, meeting girls.
Working on the craft.
Exactly. Working on what's coming next and just being able to take a creative and mental break, because when the season starts back up, August, September hits, it's every week something's going on.
So there is some seasonality to the work.
For sure. I mean, like, before, when I first started out, it all revolved around either a club residency once a week or the school shows. So everything that we do revolved around college and high schools. And it still does now. Like, we stick to that season. But then my off season would be winter break and like Thanksgiving break. So from like November through like end of January, and then summertime. That was like festivals now. But now, since I'm doing so much with sports, now my season goes from end of August, early September through probably end of May. And then June to July and August, that's the area that I have to, like I said, travel, chill, and then focus on just doing only the biggest shows. You know what I mean? So,
you gotta be pretty organized to keep a schedule like that. I'm sure it could get pretty overwhelming pretty quick.
Yeah, but we're doing what we want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I would much rather be stressed, tired, sad about something that I care about rather than doing something I don't care about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes the highs are the highest, but the lows are still cool, because it's like we're doing something that we love to do and we dedicate our lives to it. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. And you've been performing at Summerfest for a while now, right?
Yeah, since 2017, every year.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, that's a huge deal for the area. And to be able to, I think I've seen some images of you and even some video in front of those crowds, man. It looks truly surreal.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's crazy.
And
it's crazy.
Yeah, man. I have a hard time even fathoming like being up on a stage like that.
What's your first song if you go on stage and you had to perform in front of 20,000? What's your first song?
God, this is let me. Dude, I don't even know. That's such a difficult question. There are so many songs that like are very personal and mean a lot to me.
And you got to keep in mind like who's there. So
right,
I'll make it simple. Okay, so
there's so many things to think.
We have like, all right, you could have a show with Tame Impala, or you could have a show with Future, right? Which one are you picking? Would you rather do a show with Tame Impala or with Future?
With Future.
All right, so if you're gonna do a show with Future, he's a pop star, but he's for the hood too. Like, the streets love him, but everybody loves him too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you could play whatever you want really at that point. So you just got to pick your first song. What's the song that you rock with that you gonna play?
Fuck, dude, that's got to be nerve-wracking, man. I mean, truly, like,
that's the most exciting part. The intro is the best part.
Yeah, it sets the tone for the entire show, and I don't know if I could do that, man. I'm too big of a bitch.
That's funny, man.
It does definitely take a certain personality to hop up on stage like that. I mean, what track would you play in that situation?
Dude, if I'm opening for Future, I'll probably just open with Drake, to be honest, because Drake and Future is perfect combo. I'd play like No Friends in the Industry. Play a song like that. That'll get everybody rocking, because it's a stadium. And that song in a stadium before a Future show would be nuts. But then you can also play like some Young Thug. I mean, you could play whatever, dude.
In your library of music, I mean, you must just be like a textbook of tracks that roll through. I mean, how many songs can you keep kind of in your wherewithal at once? I mean, do you have a folder of like 10,000 tracks that
I got a lot of music. I remember I calculated it out. I'm pretty sure it was like I had like years worth of music. Like I could DJ somebody. If I DJ'd and just didn't stop playing music, I could play music for like a couple years straight.
That's insane. And I'm sure you have like vaults of like old music that, do you ever like break out like old tracks that really
100%.
Aren't popping anymore? But
100%.
Yeah,
we just did that at the T-Pain show.
What'd you play?
We played Luther Vandross. We played the song that Kanye sampled for Slow Jams.
Oh shit, yeah.
We played the original, and then I transitioned it into Slow Jams, and it was fire.
Damn. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. Do you do like remixes of your own, or
sometimes? I mean, it's like, how do I describe it? I'll make show mixes, so mixes with like different sound effects and different like intros and things like that, and then I'll search YouTube or work with a producer to create like live tracks. So, for example, you can listen to Cardi's album, and then you can listen to his like tour tracks. So when he's on tour, he had the guitarist that was playing like rock star intros, and it would transition from a live guitarist into the actual song. It was fire. And so if I'm like, all right, I want to perform Cardi's music like I'm Cardi, or I want to give people like Cardi music but make it feel like a live show, then you can search through YouTube and find like different producers making different intros and arrangements of songs to make it feel live and feel different, but it's still familiar.
Oh, that's crazy. I never even put thought into that, like when you're playing a track like that and wanting to give that live experience.
Yeah. So like playing music that's familiar but different so that it translates into a live show is what I do the most. It's so much fun. Anytime I find a new song that slaps but is like different, I'm like, oh my God, it's Christmas.
Do you record your sets ever, or is it just once you've played it, that was it?
Key. Yeah, I don't record the sets to like, I don't. And I think the reason why I don't record the sets, I just realized this, is because I'll take breaks of time to like speak and stuff like that. So that like I'll play a song or a couple songs, and then there will probably be like a 30-second break of just silence because my mic doesn't feed into the mix. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just stopped recording my sets, but they film it though. So
yeah.
You record it that way.
You've got a crazy media team behind you that does some
definitely they're fire. Shouts out Billy Bossy and Dre, coldest videographers and photographers in the city of Milwaukee and in the state.
They do insane work.
And shout out Nations. Nations is a monster.
So obviously some incredible talent also behind you and with you to make some magic happen.
Definitely.
Do you do any like visual performance with your show? I know some DJs have like whole visual sets, specifically like EDM artists. But
shouts out Evan. He is the graphic designer and visual artist of the team.
Hell yeah.
So I pretty much come to him with an idea like, yo, I want to do this and make it look like this. And he puts all the visuals together, formats it, and makes it look crazy, dude. He's so fire.
I mean, that's an important aspect to it's all working in tandem.
Yeah.
And you're an incredible, artist, truly, because it takes so much planning and skill and really forward thinking to make happen what you make happen.
Appreciate it. Appreciate that a lot.
So
and, we try and hit it like on all aspects, like visuals, costumes, a theme, you know, the music, the choreography, like everything all together. We try and hit them on all fronts to make it that experience, you know what I mean?
Every time you see a show, it's going to be slightly different, slightly better.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the goal, man.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming out, taking out the time to talk to me, man. It's been a pleasure to really dive into your world and kind of see how your brain works.
Appreciate it.
It's a cool insight for your fans and my fans to get that perspective on how you work, man. I don't think people see enough of this side, you know?
Yeah, they always see the finished product. They don't really see like all the stuff that goes into it.
The thought that goes into it, and it's on a whole different level, man.
I'm like a crazy person sometimes. Like, all right, everybody wakes up at 7 a.m. for a month straight, and we're just doing dance moves and stuff like that. So.
That's the mindset you need, man. That's absolutely the mindset you need.
Yeah.
So where can people find you? Where can people see what's going on in your world?
Everything is DJay Mando. So it's DJay Mando, DJay Mando. Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, anything. Yeah, it's all gonna be the same. So.
He's hard to miss, people. If you search it up, you'll most definitely find him.
For sure.
I'll link all of his stuff in the description of this video if you want to check him out. You're probably here because you already know of him. So thank you once again for coming out, man.
Appreciate you, dog. It's breakfast time.
Oh, you guys haven't eaten yet.
It's breakfast time. That's why I'm talking like this. I'm tired as a bitch.